Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, so welcome to my video. Alright, first of all, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Firda Herdianti. I'm from 7th semester of English Education Department of STKIP Muhammadiyah Bogor. Alright, I make this video to fulfill my assignment of Pragmatics, and in this video, I'd like to present it about Christian Maxim and humor, what the relations of cooperative principle of Maxim and humor. So, let's start it. Christian Maxim and humor. The cooperative principle and its maxim. What is the cooperative principle? Okay, a principle proposed by the philosopher Paul Grace, whereby those involved in communication assume that both parties will normally seek to cooperate with each other to establish a correct meaning. It is composed of four maxims. The first is quality, the second is quantity, the third is relation, and the last is manner. The cooperative principle, maxim of conversation. The first is about the maxim of quality. What is the maxim of quality? The maxim of quality is when you speak with others, you have to be truthful. Don't give false or unsupported information. And the second, the maxim of manner. What is the maxim of manner? When you speak with others, you have to be clear, brief, and orderly. Avoid obscurity and ambiguity. And the third is the maxim of quantity. The maxim of quantity, you have to say enough information but not too much. And the last is the maxim of relation. The maxim of relation is stay relevant to the topic and pertinent to the discussion. Floating versus floating maxims. What is the floating? Okay, floating is speakers fails to observe maxims with a deliberate intention on generating implicator, and then violating is people may quietly and unostentatiously violate a maxims with intention to mislead. The next, what is humor? Did you know what is humor? Humor are usually short stories or collections of humorous poetry. There are several categories of jokes, from simple to jokes that use sarcasm. Jokes can be fun for some but painful for others. Humor, simply defined, is utterances which are intended by the speakers to be amusing and are perceived to be amusing by at least some of the participants. In addition, humor is a language phenomenon that has not been widely studied. There are types of humor that are considered criticism in the form of entertainment and are aimed at specific targets. Is three-component theory of humor. The first is humor processing. When you hear other people make the humor, you have to comprehension of the topic, and then you can give the appreciation, and the last you can give the expression. And then humor component is the first is cognition, the second is affect, and the last is laughter. The cognition is the comprehension processing, and then the effect is the appreciation of processing, and then the last is laughter. Laughter is the expressions of processing humor. So the next, pragmatics of humor. What is the pragmatic of humor? Pragmatic is an aspect of the study of language in use that concern with how language users interact, communicate, and interpret linguistic behavior. Also describes pragmatics as the study of thesis, at least in part, implicator, presupposition, speech acts, and aspect of discourse structure. The pragmatic part of humor is generated when there is a violation of Christian cooperative maxim. Humor can be seen as a conversational implicator. A conversational implicator is one of the mechanisms that generate humor. So, menurut pragmatics, humor itu, we can make humor with of the violation of Christian cooperative maxim. Jadi humor itu diciptakan dari violation dari cooperative maxim principle. And the next is maxim. These maxims, however, are not always observed in conversations, one of the reasons being an intentional attempt to create a humorous effect. A deliberate non-observance of conversational maxims is called a floating, and it may be an attempt to invoke laughter. Hence, this theory can be taken as a framework for humor analysis. Floating maxims happens when a speaker obviously breaks maxim but has no intention to deceive or mislead the listener. Floating maxims is an intentional non-observance of maxims. The speaker is blatantly saying something that is implied beyond what is said and also understood by its interlocutor. The speaker obviously fails to observe maxims because the speaker wishes to encourage or lead the listener to look for a different form of meaning. The speaker wants the listener to see another meaning, an additional or another meaning is called as a conversational implicator. And the next, floating maxims can be done in a variety of ways, such as an overstatement, exaggerations or hyperbola, understatement or euphemism, self-depreciations, teasing, metaphor, and irony. Other ways of floating maxims are sarcasm and banter. The reasons for the speakers to float maxims can be to create humor, avoid an appropriate or uncomfortable situation, and show a disdain or scorn. The conclusion of this discussion is humor is a short story that tells a funny incident in the hope of making the reader laugh. The curious of humor can be caused by several things, for example, the behavior of the actors, common events but are punctuated, criticism of the situation, stupidity, misunderstanding, clashes between cultures, and other things. Jadi, humor itu diciptakan ada kaitannya dengan pragmatics, ada kaitannya dengan cooperative principle of cuisine maxims, yaitu floating and violating. Jadi, mereka menggunakan violating and floating untuk membuat atau menciptakan humor. So, that's all our discussion about cuisine maxim and humor. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'm Firda Herdianti and wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.